Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to take a closer look at Apple and TSMC, obviously the huge mobile giant and also the huge foundry business for semiconductors. As I am recording the episode, we can see Apple is sitting at $149.84. We can see it ended the day at 1.27% down. TSMC, the semiconductor manufacturing giant, was down roughly 1.2%, sitting at $72.13. And we can see this is really close to its 52-week low of $70.70. So what do these two companies have in common? Well, let's find out in today's episode.
I do want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
So today at one point, Apple was actually down over 4% before kind of trickling up and almost making its way to green. The main reason is there were reports by Bloomberg that Apple ditches iPhone production increase after demand falters. So Apple was initially expected to increase their overall productions for the new phones, but these reports say that, hey, they're not going to do those increases. I do want to say I would have expected this kind of downturn to really pull down the market, but the Dow, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq were all up almost 2% on the day. So how does Apple slowing down their production increase affect TSM, and why am I doing a video on both of these? Well, Apple is actually the #1 customer for TSM in forms of revenue. If we take a closer look at TSM's most recent earnings, which were presented on July of 2022, we can see smartphone makes up 38% of total revenue. We can also see high performance computing is 43%. Apple has two kind of main products. First, they have the iPhones in general, right? And that would go into the smartphone section. And then they also have things like iMacs, their iPads, which would most likely go into things like the high performance, especially those high performance Mac platforms that they have right now. So if Apple was intending of increasing their production later on, that obviously would have been bullish news for TSM. Unfortunately, if the reports are true that they are no longer going to ramp up production on some of their products, then it might seem that TSM might lose out on some revenue. If you're enjoying the episode so far, make sure to hit the thumbs up as it does help me grow my overall audience. If you want to support a little bit more, make sure to subscribe using my link at fool.com/Jose. Finally, if you want to learn more about the semiconductor market, make sure to sign up to my newsletter. The link is down below, and that should be coming out soon. I do want to say there's also another interesting topic going with Apple and TSM, and this one really kind of messes with my mind. So TSM, historically, I've done videos where they mentioned that they are going to be increasing the prices of chips. But there are reports, as we can see, that Apple has reportedly rejected TSMC's chip price hike. I do want to say that's insane. Imagine you being a customer and going to the store and they saying, hey, we had to increase the price of milk, we had to increase the price of eggs, and you just say, no, I'm just going to pay what I normally paid. And that's what reports are saying. Obviously, we are not in the room with them, so we don't know exactly how true it is. But I do want to say Apple being their #1 customer, they do probably have some negotiation power. At the end of the day, Apple also needs to be somewhat careful and not really step on the toes of TSM. Obviously, they do have other kind of avenues they can go with, Samsung, for example, or in the future, maybe even go to Intel's foundry business. Again, that's too far ahead. But TSMC is definitely the leader right now when it comes to leading edge, 3 nanometers. And they do have a lot of kind of chiplet and kind of packaging technology that has helped Apple make the chips that they have today. I do want to say TSMC does provide monthly reports on revenue, and they did give us their August 2022 numbers earlier this month on September 8th of 2022. And we can see for August, things were still looking pretty good for TSM. Month-to-month basis, it did increase revenue 16.8%. I do believe that's insane. And on a year-to-year basis, TSMC did increase its revenue by roughly 58.7%. Year-to-date revenue increase for TSM is up 43.5% as well. So we can see TSM is definitely not lacking in revenue growth. I do want to say probably a nice amount of that revenue growth are from old contracts that maybe some of these semiconductor companies might have made in the past. But regardless, we still have the need for strong chips that TSMC provides. So I want to ask you guys, do you think Apple is playing with fire when they reject like kind of price hikes? If it is true, right, we are not in the room with them, but do you think they're playing with fire with TSM, or do you believe they have the strength to do that?